You have
Sure.
over 22 years of experience in food service design and have been with Ricca Design Studios for almost 2 decades. Can you share how your journey in this industry began and what led you to your current role?
Sure, happy to. I actually, my only food service design experience has been at Ricca, but I've been in the food service industry for a long time. So, I didn't have as straight as a path as maybe some of the other folks that you've talked to. I actually went to my undergrad to be a diplomat. Like, I wanted to
Mm.
deal with transboundary water issues, like between countries, and studied Chinese, and was
Oh,
just
wow.
wanting to travel the world and do all of that. But the truth is it's really competitive and it's really hard. And so very quickly I realized this isn't maybe the best fit for me, and it's not something that I really want to do. And so I kind of got into food service just because I wanted to come out to Colorado. I was living in LA and I just wanted a little bit more nature, and Whole Foods was just starting to expand into Colorado. So I got a job with them and got really involved with them in some of their leadership around things like Green Mission and helping them open stores. So that was sort of my way into the food service industry. Other than also like a family owned ice cream store that I worked at before that, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of us have stories like that. But kind of found out about this whole design world. I'd taken a temp job at a company that became BSI, who
Wow.
does counters and food shields, and I started interfacing with clients while I was working for them. I was only with them for about a year, but I met the folks from Ricca and I love them. I was like, I want to work for these people. I met Kathleen Seeley and I met Tom Ricca and I met a bunch of other folks, and I was like, this is where I want to be. And so they offered me a job, and the truth is it's just been a really great fit for me. There's so much about this company that I love, and I feel like in a lot of ways I'm a success story that I hope a lot of other folks who are with us can be inspired by, where I really started entry level. I started as a
Mm.
project manager. They asked me at my interview, they're like, do you know CAD? At the time we weren't in Revit. And I was like, yeah, I work in CAD every day. Well, I really only know how to print documents. I really didn't know much about it. So the truth is like everything I know, I've learned on the job, and just had some really great mentors and just been in a really good environment. So hopefully some of our folks can see that and say, well, maybe one day if I want to be at the senior leadership table, it's possible.
Totally. And I think it's so rare, especially these days where it's so known to kind of hop from company to company every couple of years,
Yeah.
just to gain experience and try a new company. But Ricca is really one of the companies that I've seen where people stay here 10 plus, 20 plus years. And on that, I wanted to ask you, what did your first year at Ricca look and feel like? And what do you hope that your last year at Ricca will look and feel like?
My first year at Ricca, well, I kind of talked about it a little bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
there
But
was quite a
TM.
steep learning curve for me. But I think one of the things that I love and one of the things that's kept me here is just wanting challenges, wanting to constantly learn, and not really being afraid to jump in and try something new and become an expert in it, quite frankly.
Mm.
And then just having the support of people here. So the first year it was a lot of CAD work, to be honest. We used to call ourselves CAD monkeys. So my first year
That's
was
funny.
being a CAD monkey. I don't know if I think about my last year, just kind of what I enjoy doing now and where I want to continue focusing on is hopefully I'm in a place where I'm able to do a lot of mentorship and just helping some of the newer folks who are coming into the industry, learn that this can be a really good industry and a really good company to have a lifetime career.
That's great. And speaking of your career here at Ricca, what has been your most memorable project to date? And maybe what was one that was most challenging?
So my most memorable ones are usually the ones that I've made the biggest mistakes on, just because you
I
don't
get it. Yeah.
you don't ever you don't ever want to make those again, and those kind of stick out in your memory. But I guess I talk want to talk about the ones that um, you know, I'm most proud of. I feel really lucky that I've been able to work on a lot of college and university campus, work on stadiums, work on hotels. But the ones that are really meaningful are the ones that we've done pro bono. So earlier on in my career, I did one called the Children's Rescue Mission that was in Nicaragua. That was a community center. All the equipment was donated, and
Wow.
it was to train a lot of the people in this community to learn how to cook so they could go work in hotels and make, 4 or 5 times more money than they were making currently. So
Hmm.
that was really cool to be a part of it. And then recently we did another pro bono project in Puerto Rico where the community had been hit really badly by the hurricane that happened a couple years ago, and their community center was destroyed. And they also wanted it to be able to serve meals if there was another catastrophic event again down the road. And just working directly with those community members was really, really wonderful and meaningful. And they were so thankful for our help. And so those are the projects that are the most meaningful to me.
It's great. I think when you're able to come into a situation like that, especially the one with Puerto Rico, where people are in such need of help, and you're able to not only help but provide information that will better them in the future, I think that's really amazing, and understand why it stuck out to you.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good ones. Other than that, it's just fun working with clients across the country and across the world.
The international work, I mean, is some of my favorite personally. As a part of the new generation of leadership and vice president at Ricca, what are three goals you're looking to achieve in the next 5 years?
I think, something that I want to continue is we have a really long legacy of being a company with heart, and that's really important to me to continue. To really, to me, that means like really helping people grow, both personally and professionally, and just trying to have a culture that people are excited to come into work every day. Now, I know that we're not perfect and it's never going to be like that 100% of the time, but at least, what can we do to help foster that so people feel valued and feel rewarded by the job that they're doing. Another piece of it too is it's fun. I really, you know, enjoy looking at how we can be a more global company. I mean, we always have been, but how we can continue to keep our place both nationally and internationally. And I know a lot of strides have been made, and just continuing to further that and see how we can grow and where we can go as a company. And the third one is just something that I think really plays to what my strengths are, which is how can we be super efficient, right? So, everybody, I think that makes it comes back to people enjoying their jobs, right? If you don't have a lot of roadblocks in what you're doing in your day to day, it's a little bit easier to enjoy what you work on, and then it makes a seamless experience for our clients.
I'm totally the same way. I'm always, how can we make this process or this way of doing things more efficient? So I'll always back you on that third point there.
That's great. No, I appreciate
Yeah,
that, Hayden. And I think it's really important. I mean, the truth is for us to, be able to do all of those things, it really takes, listening to everybody in the company. So I'm sure you have lots of ideas, and we always have an open door. So I'd love to hear some of the suggestions. I have a feeling you're probably implementing them already because I've already seen some of the stuff that you've changed. But I think it's just important to keep that conversation going. You know your day to day more than I do, and you will have ideas on how to make it work better.
now, as you are our sustainability lead at the company, and a lead AP, I wanted to touch a little bit more on sustainability, as it's not much of a topic that we've touched on here in Design Dish. So, getting into that, I wanted to ask you what inspired you to focus on sustainability within food service design specifically, and how do you incorporate your passion for sustainability into your projects?
So it's always been a really important topic for me. So I have, one of my undergrad degrees is in sustainability. So it's just been something that I've always been interested in. I was part of, the group on campus in my undergrad that, was trying to promote sustainability. And when I think back on it, it's so ironic because we were trying to get styrofoam taken out of the dining halls. And so we would
Yeah,
do all of these, different events to try to get, styrofoam taken out of the dining halls. And I even met with the dining director. Like I had no idea that this would come completely full circle, like 15
that's
years later,
hilarious.
and actually working on the campus. But I think it's just something because the truth is just seeing how things change and understanding, I guess a big part of it too. So where I grew up in Southern California, like was a really small town when I was growing up, and there was orange groves everywhere, and strawberry fields everywhere. And then just slowly over time, like all of that is gone. And it's all been developed. And I think just seeing that happen just makes it really important to think about quality of life, and then also learning about how when there were orange groves and strawberry fields, how it wasn't the safest environment for the people who were working there. So it just becomes, well, how can we have a mindset of making things a little bit better, in the community, and for people who are experiencing spaces, thinking about not just the short term, but the long term. So for me, I guess that's one of the reasons why it's really important.
That's really interesting, not only focusing on the design and what you can put into a kitchen to make it more sustainable, but also how it's affecting the end user and what impacts it's having on their longevity and their ability to work in this space long term. Moving on to our sixth question. When we're talking about food recovery, people tend to look at solutions for handling waste. What are some strategies that are more effective than just looking at waste?
For food recovery, it's really important to understand, to think about it in terms of full cycle. The first thing that I talk to clients about is, well, what options do you have for your food waste? You don't just want to design something in if it's not going to work. So are there partnerships that you can do where maybe your food waste can be turned into compost, or where your food waste can go, help produce energy just through an anaerobic digester, and sort of work backwards to try to understand, like, how can this food recovery program last for the long term. A lot of the clients we work with are really savvy when it comes to food recovery, so they already have programs. The EPA has a really great hierarchy on, most preferred to least preferred in terms of diverting food waste to landfill. And a lot of our clients already know about this and already have programs where so much of it has to do with, looking at purchasing and reducing pre-consumer waste, and then looking at, how can we feed people? So a lot of them have programs where they have donations that go to community organizations to feed people, and the next level being turning it into compost. So anyway, there's a series of things you can do instead of just immediately thinking about, diverting it
Mm.
to landfill. And I'd say a lot of clients already have a plan in place, and if they don't, it's something that we help walk them through.
I was going to say, I feel like maybe the hardest point in implementing processes like that is the learning curve, or like just the mental change in workflow within the system. But you found that most people are already adopting strategies like that.
Yeah, I mean, because the truth is, it's really what happens on the back end, like at the loading dock. That's the trickiest as far as collection. I think most people, most locations are used to having to scrap a little differently or having to think about their food waste. I guess in all honesty, too, I work with a lot of colleges and universities, so it's at the forefront of a lot of students are really interested and aware in that, and the schools are
True.
trying to meet them there. Um, but but yeah, I'd say a lot of people are fairly well educated, and some locations have banned food waste. So then, to landfill, some states, some jurisdictions. So then it becomes, a topic that people have to talk about and they have to be educated in.
Where do you see the biggest opportunity for energy savings in kitchen design that people don't think about often? Obviously, I mean, there's a huge conversation around all electric kitchens. Um, what do most people not think about often that could be considered?
I feel like most people are pretty well educated, but the one that I feel like us as design that we have the most control over is the hoods. Just thinking about where the hoods are located, how equipment is located underneath the hoods, what accessories are for the exhaust hoods. So I would look closely at the hoods, and, not just exhaust air, but makeup air. I think it's a little bit more straightforward. People always say equipment,
Hmm.
and there's Energy Star and there's different categories within Energy Star. But I think, exhaust hoods use a quarter of the energy in a kitchen. So there's opportunity to think
Wow.
about that.
Now, I reached out to Phil, who's your colleague, and he threw in a couple fun questions for me to ask before we wrap up our interview here. Now, I've heard that you've worked for the National Forest Service. How does that experience shape your approach to food service design?
Not at all, but it definitely brought me out to Colorado and kept me here. And yeah, I think it's very much in line. The Park Service is very much in line with food service, in that it's a work hard, play hard type of culture. So that's
Totally.
that's maybe what has translated over.
And the love for sustainability, helping those forests stay clean and upright.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, and I gave a lot of ranger talk, so that translated over too.
Yeah, now you're giving all these talks. That public speaking knowledge crosses many
That's
industries
right.
and boundaries.
That's right.
Now, I've heard that you've been to a restaurant in Long Beach whose Phil's friend Eric owns. Now, how many times have you been to that restaurant without Philip?
I can't believe he's calling me out on this. Well, I've been there one time with him, and then I've been there 3 times without him.
Oh, okay.
But it's really nice to know the chef and to get the chef treatment. And
Yeah.
I go to LA a bit for different projects. So whenever I can, we go check out his restaurant. It's a great one.
It must be good. What do they serve? What's their cuisine?
Italian food. It's Italian food.
Okay, yum. And I know that you are a parent of twins. Which one is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, come on. I deal with this question every night.
Yeah. I'm bringing it to the workplace. I know you see it at home
I
too.
love them both for different reasons.
Great answer. Great diplomatic answer there. And one final question that I've been asking every principal and EP that comes on here. I wanted to ask you, why Ricca, and what does creating what's next mean to you?
I just think that we have a unique environment. I talked a little bit about before. I feel like we're a company with heart, that we truly care about our people, and we truly care about the people that we work with. I think about, what Tom Ricca said, which is, we judge our success by the smiles we see. And I truly believe that, at least for me. And it's always trying to do what's best for the client, what's best for our team members. And that makes it a really easy place to be. And then in terms of, the design and the projects that we're working on, and how we work with our clients, I just think that we understand that we need to be advocates for them, that we need to be their guide as they're walking through this process. Even if folks have gone through a project before, and a lot of the clients we work with haven't, they've never done a design project before. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what they should be thinking about, and that's really our role, is to help them, see what's happening around the country, help them see what potential trends are, help them think through what's best for them, what's best for their team, what's best for their project, and truly walk them through the whole process, so that at the end of the day, they can look back and feel really proud, not just about what they have, but about what they accomplished. That to me is, what all that means.
I love that idea of being an advocate for the end user, or for our owner or the client. I think so often that we get so nitty gritty with the architects about spatial awareness and what fits where. But that human side of being the advocate for the client and making it the best possible project that it can be is really where we step in, and what we bring to the table when it comes to food service designers.
Agreed. We have to. That's our role, and that's what makes us different and unique.
Mhm. I love that, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today, Tarah. I hope you have a great weekend and a great rest of your week.
Thanks. You too, Hayden. This is great. I appreciate you. All right.
Yeah, have a good one.
Talk soon.
Bye.